If you own a PS5, Xbox, a handheld or gaming PC and you want to buy a monitor that can keep up with your hardware and is also decently priced, you should watch this video, because today we're going to test this 27-inch 4K 160Hz monitor on the PS5, Xbox Series X and a couple of other devices like the Steam Deck, Switch and MacBook, so you will know if it's worth buying. It's ROMB360. This is the KTC H27P22S, sent to me by Geekmaxi to review, and if you need any links, they will be in the video description. By the way, the first impressions of this monitor are very positive, as you can select the highest settings on your PS5 and Xbox Series X, so you will get an incredibly sharp and smooth image, but we will get into that in a minute. Let's first check out the box content and then show you some performance and talk about some specs. First off, you get the display itself, but you also get a stand and a base if you want to put the monitor on your desk. You also get a DP cable, an adapter and power cord, a warranty card and a user manual to set things up. Speaking of, the setup is pretty straightforward. Just put the stand on top of the base, then use a screwdriver to fasten it with the included screws, and then connect the stand to the back of the display as you can see here. And that's it. And I have to say, the design of the KTC H27P22S does look pretty clean. It has these small bezels at the side for an optimal screen real estate, a slightly taller bezel at the bottom with a KTC logo on it, and a pink accent in the middle to indicate where you can manage your cables, which by the way is pretty convenient. Also, I do like that the foot isn't that large, so it doesn't take up much space on your desk. So you will have enough space left for your consoles, PC or handhelds. And by the way, you can easily connect these devices through one of the two HDMI 2.1 ports or one of the two DP 1.4 ports. You also get a USB 2.0 port, but no, it's for upgrades only. You can also secure the monitor with a lock if you own one. And lastly, you get a headphone jack to connect your own speakers or headphones. When connecting something like a PS5 or Xbox Series, always make sure you are using an HDMI 2.1 cable. And make sure that you're always using the optimal settings in the menu itself. Or maybe even take some time to calibrate the image in the console's menu to get the most out of this monitor. Once you've set everything up, you can enjoy the best picture quality as possible for your favorite games. As this 27-inch monitor not only has a 4K resolution to experience the sharpest image as possible, but it also has an AUO 7.0 fast IPS panel with an ELED backlight. It also has a 1 millisecond response time and a 160Hz refresh rate, so you get the smoothest image the PS5 and Xbox Series X can display, as they both go up to 120Hz. Couple those specs with a 1000:1 contrast ratio, 400 nits brightness and a 132 sRGB color gamut, you will enjoy great and vibrant colors and detailed scenes. The KTC H27P22S also has HDR 400, which is definitely a better experience than watching content in SDR. Just know it's more like an entry-level HDR. Still, it's cool that this monitor can process HDR images. It's also cool that this monitor has adaptive sync, which are AMD FreeSync Premium for smooth, tear-free gameplay for serious gaming enthusiasts. And it's G-Sync compatible, so you get artifact-free performance when used with selected NVIDIA graphics cards. But getting back at the PS5's performance, it's absolutely incredible. The image is sharp, vibrant and detailed, and at 120Hz refresh rate, smooth things out perfectly, providing an excellent gaming experience. Just keep in mind, not all games support this high refresh rate, so be sure to look that up online first before fiddling with the settings. Speaking of, you get this button at the backside of the KTC monitor, which opens up a menu where you can customize things even more by simply pressing and tilting it. For example, you can do the following. Change the display settings, which include settings like the brightness, contrast and more. Then you can change the color settings, like adjust the color temperature, saturation, and blue light. And you can also change the game setup, which are things like FreeSync and G-Sync, but also things like Game Assist that lets you enable a timer, crosshair, and FPS counter, which can be pretty handy to get some assistance in shooters or see if your games run at a stable FPS. Then you get the advanced settings where you can enable or disable HDR or change something like the on-screen display style. And moving on, you can also manually change your input settings or change the system settings like changing the language, the on-screen display setup, reset to factory settings, and more. You can also access a quick menu if you tilt the stick immediately without pressing it, which can be handy if you quickly want to switch inputs or change some basic settings or use some gaming features. I also tried this monitor on the Xbox Series X, which was also quite an amazing experience. The image was also sharp, vibrant, and smooth on racing games, and I didn't notice any major ghosting issues on any game, which is a very important thing for the serious gamers among us. And speaking of, I also liked using the crosshair feature, which you can easily set up on the KTC's menu or quick menu. There are several ones to choose from in the colors red and green, so that's pretty cool, as I can imagine it might improve your gaming performance on competitive shooters. The Nintendo Switch also works quite well. The colors really pop on these Mario games and the image is really smooth. Just keep in mind the Nintendo Switch doesn't support that 120Hz refresh rate, but still you will get the smoothest image as possible on the Nintendo Switch, so that's quite nice. Same goes for the Steam Deck and ROG Ally X. They are great to connect to this monitor, and I love that you can connect multiple devices to this KTC monitor, so you can easily switch between them. Just a quick note, these handhelds are not all powerful when connected to any display, so they mostly won't reach the high resolution and refresh rates this KTC monitor offers. However, it's still nice that you're able to connect these handhelds to this monitor so easily. And like on the Nintendo Switch, it's just nice that you can easily switch from this small handheld screen to a larger display. Also, using this monitor for productivity is great. The text clarity is quite good and I didn't get any eye fatigue after using this monitor for some time, which is probably because this monitor has low blue light support and it's flicker free. And the color accuracy looks great as well, which I could notice on a lot of my editing sessions. I might not be a pro editor on colors yet, however, it was still very helpful for me and my future development. I also noticed those vibrant colors when watching content, whether that would be movies, TV shows, or trailers. They all looked pretty good on this monitor. And to be honest, the image quality looks a lot better in real life than on camera. Anyway, if you want, you can also tilt or swivel the angle of this monitor and even adjust the height, so you will get the best viewing experience. And I have to say, the angles aren't that bad either. And if you want to, you can also wall mount this monitor. And you can even put it in vertical mode, which can be nice for some vertical content, but also to use it as an extra monitor or to play some vertical shooters. So is the KTC H27P22S the perfect monitor? Well, although it comes close within its price range, it does have some improvement points. For example, it doesn't have any included speakers, and even though you will probably connect your own headphones or speakers, I just want to point this out for full transparency. Also, don't expect any OLED types of black levels, as this IPS display won't match that. This monitor doesn't have any local dimming, so you will notice that on black scenes and some HDR content. Furthermore, you don't get a picture-in-picture or picture-by-picture mode, but you don't have to worry about that if you don't use these types of features. So let's talk about the price and my verdict. The pro on a 27-inch monitor is that it's large enough to get immersed in your games and movies, but it will also be great for competitive games as the screen won't be too large, because you can see your display completely. And speaking of, the text clarity is very clear and is great when you want to use this monitor for productivity. It has most basic features and the design is fairly minimal and clean as well. And also navigating the menu is really easy. It does have some small improvement points like the lack of speakers, no local dimming, and the lack of picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture, but these points don't have to be a big issue if you don't want these, and the lack of speakers can easily be resolved by plugging in your own speakers or headphones. So if you're on the market for a 27-inch monitor and you want that sharp 4K image and a high enough refresh rate to connect all your modern consoles, handhelds, and maybe do some productive work, the KTC H27P22S is one you should definitely consider, especially when looking at its price point, which is currently only €349 on Geekmaxi, and there's even a discount code available to drop that price even more. So if you want to pick one up, be sure to check out the link in the video description. And if this video was helpful to you, drop a like, subscribe for more content, leave a comment, or watch the next video right here. See you there.